Some of you aren't going to like this. So when I reviewed the Beats Studio Pro a couple of weeks ago, I asked you guys to give me a list of the headphones that you wanted me to compare them against, and, well, you didn't hold back. However, the ones that kind of stuck out were Skullcandy Bone Crusher ANC2, Bose 700s, the Sony XM5s, the Bowers & Wilkins PX7S2s, the Sony XM4s, the Apple AirPods Max, and the Soundcore Q45s. Now that tells me two things about the Beats Studio Pro. The first thing is that a lot of you are thinking about buying them, and the second thing is that clearly there's a lot of competition. Now clearly I can't compare these against all of these headphones in one video because we'll be here until next week. Instead, I thought I'd pitch these against I think the toughest competition that I can think of, which is the Bose QC45s. These have been my daily driver headphones for the last year, and taking these off my head and out of my rucksack is quite a big task. Can the Beats Studio Pro really do that? Let's find out. Very quickly though guys, although this video isn't sponsored, I do have some fantastic brands that I work with who enable me to keep making these free videos. One of them that I would love to point you in the direction of very quickly is Brain FM. It's basically focus music that gets piped into your ears. It's a brilliant thing to use with a pair of noise cancelling headphones like any of these. Please go and check it out. It may not be for you, but it might be. It's been absolutely game changing for my productivity. Anyway, let's get on to this comparison. The reason I'm using the term daily driver in this video is because, as you can see, I've got access to loads of headphones in this studio. Now that's a lovely and very fortunate position to be in, but I need a pair of headphones that I can rely on every single day, and pretty much all of those headphones that I've just picked up, bar the XM4s, I think really, have something. They have a compromise that is just a bit too much to use them every day. The sound could be too much, too much bass and all that sort of thing, or it could be a massive case. That is why, for the last, like I say, year or so, I've been using the Bose QC45s. Nothing is spectacular with these headphones, so they haven't got spectacular sound. The noise cancelling is really good, but it's not absolutely world beating. But it's just the entire package. They just get everything just right. The other thing that these have, which pretty much makes it for me, and if you know me, this is what I'm all about, is the case, which is still, I think, the best headphone case on the market. It's tiny, it's robust enough to look after the headphones, and you just don't know it's there. So, knocking these off my head and making me forget about this case is a really big task. I think the Beats Studio Pro might have done it. Okay, let's go through some of the key differences between these two headphones. The first thing is the price. The Beats Studio Pro are £349.99 in the UK. The Bose QC45s, the thing to bear in mind about these headphones is that they're coming on for 2 years old. The pricing is all over the place, but in a very good way, because that means you can pick these up for an absolute bargain if you shop around. On average, I think they're about £30–40 cheaper than the Beats Studio Pro, so immediately these are more affordable. On paper, there is very little separating these two. They've both got proprietary drivers made by the manufacturer. They have roughly the same battery life. They weigh pretty much the same as well. The differences only become apparent when you start digging in a little deeper, and that's where you find the features that separate these two headphones. Firstly, there's audio. So neither of these headphones is compatible with higher end Bluetooth codecs, but Beats Studio Pro are compatible with Dolby Atmos, spatial audio, and head tracking. If you attach them to a compatible Apple device, these can't do any of that. And with the Beats Studio Pro, you can use the USB-C port for lossless audio. Both of these have multi-point Bluetooth switching, so you can connect them to more than one device at a time, but the Beats Studio Pro have the fast connection for both Android and iOS, so when you first get these and turn them on, you can connect them much quicker to your phone. I know that's just a one-off thing, but it also means that these become available on all of your devices on your Google account or your Apple ID. These also work with the Find My network on both platforms, so if you lose your Beats Studio Pro, you should be able to locate them on the app. Oh, and these also have Hey support on iOS. So there are some very interesting differences between these two headphones, but Let's talk about what matters when it comes to the daily driver, which is comfort and convenience, sound, and noise cancelling. Having used both of these headphones for extended periods of time, I can safely say that they are both about as comfortable as each other, but they do feel different, and that's quite important. So these, although they're roughly the same weight, the Bose QC45s do feel a bit lighter on your head, and I think that's down to the clamping force. The Beats Studio Pro just feel tighter around your head. It doesn't bother me, but if you like lighter feeling headphones and headphones that don't clamp too much, the Bose QC45s are probably for you. That said, I can wear both of these for extended periods of time without any discomfort. They're both very easy to live with as well. I'm going to have to put them both around my neck because I need to refer to some numbers now. When it comes to battery life, they both charge very quickly. The Beats do just beat the QC45s when it comes to quick charging. So a 10-minute charge on the Beats gives you 4 hours of playback, whereas a 15-minute charge on the QC45s gives you a 3-hour playback. And it takes 2.5 hours to completely charge the Bose QC45s versus the 2 hours that it takes to charge the Beats Studio Pro. And when it comes to battery life with noise cancelling turned on, the Beats are 24 hours, whereas the Bose are 22 hours. The other thing both of these headphones do is completely avoid touch controls. So they have physical buttons for on and off and play and volume up and down and turning noise cancelling on and off. That is a brilliant feature and a must-have, I think, for any daily driver headphones. And you can very easily find out how much battery life's left on both of these. So on the Beats, you have a button that you press here. It gives you an LED indication of the battery life remaining, and the QC45s tell you how much battery is remaining when you turn them on. It's close, guys. It is so close with these headphones. However, one of the main reasons that I turned to the Bose QC45s for my daily driver duties over the last 12 months or so is because of, you guessed it, the case. As I mentioned earlier, it's small, it's light, it protects the headphones, it is fantastic. However, this is the Beats Studio Pro case and I prefer it. It's unlike any headphone case I've ever used. It looks a little bit like a miniature wash bag, like you'd put your toothbrush and your toothpaste in here, but you don't. You put your headphones in here. Well, you can put more stuff as well. So it's got these lovely little pockets for your cables. There's a netted, zipped pocket in there as well. And because the headphones fold correctly, like that, they slot in here perfectly and give you this tiny little pouch that you pop into your bag and you just forget is there. It's just so convenient, so easy to live with, and I think when you combine this with all of those features that I've just mentioned, the Beats Studio Pro are starting to knock these off their perch. Right, moving on to sound, and the Bose QC45s are typically Bose. They are inoffensive, they sound nice and refined, and they suit most types of music, but they won't knock your head off. Weirdly, the Beats Studio Pro don't knock your head off either. Gone are the days of ridiculous bass and overemphasized everything. These are now becoming a much more refined sound. That said, it does have more of a character than the Bose QC45s. These are very top-endy headphones. There's a lot of sparkle going on, which I quite like. It won't suit all types of music, and there's still quite a lot of bass going on. There's much more bass on these compared to the QC45s. That is the signature Beats sound, but it's just been mellowed a bit. It's kind of grown up, and that does mean that the Beats Studio Pro cope with a far wider selection of genres and music compared to Beats headphones of old. So when it comes to sound, I'm not going to do a massive deep dive between these two headphones because it's not really worth it. For me, I just prefer the Beats Studio Pro sound because it's got a bit more character. When it comes to noise cancelling, they are both very good. Neither of these headphones are as good as the Sony XM5s, which I still think are the best noise cancelling headphones on the market. But if you're looking for a very good performing pair of noise cancelling headphones, you won't be disappointed with either the Beats Studio Pro or the QC45s. The only difference really is that the Beats Studio Pro have a slight audible hiss when you're not playing music, which you don't get quite so much on the QC45s. And I think the QC45s, they make the world go slightly quieter. It's fractional, and you do have to A/B test the two to notice it. As for transparency mode, they're both about as good as each other. They're nowhere near as good as the AirPods Max. There's something that Apple does to their transparency mode which makes it completely unbeatable by other brands for some reason, so you can't expect miracles with these when it comes to letting the world in. It's just okay. And that means that for both of these headphones, you can use them for taking calls, and you can hear the person on the other end, they can hear you, you can just about hear yourself through that transparency mode. Right, it's time for a conclusion. Right, I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I have a new favourite pair of daily driver headphones. It's the Beats Studio Pro. I put these on straight away in the morning when I do my writing. I use them throughout the day when I'm doing deep work that I need to really lock into with Brain FM. Remember to check that out. And like every pair of daily driver headphones that I've got attached to, they don't do anything perfectly, but they do everything just right. Now, if you've bought the Bose QC45s on my recommendation, don't worry, these are still a fantastic pair of headphones. If I didn't have these, I would still be using these. The only reason I'm using these is because I'm a headphone reviewer, so I get to try lots of different headphones, and these came across my desk. But the Bose QC45s are still utterly brilliant. And if you'd like to know my full thoughts on the Beats Studio Pro, keep watching for a link to my full review.